Hi, welcome to the second part of our explanatory video in which I tell you all about our Sentinel DAO and how it works under the hood. If you've missed the first part and any of the things that I talk about seem unclear to you, be sure to check it out in the description. So, we have this nice table with all the possible information about a Sentinel you could possibly get, and most of them is the same as you can see on this Toga dashboard over here. So we've got the stake, that is the current stake of the current Sentinel. We've got the APR that this stake yields. We have the percentage of jackpot and unprofitable transactions. And we've also got the information whether or not the Sentinel is currently controlled by the DAO, and also how many funds, how much funds are available to the DAO. So when you click on the Manage button, there are a couple possibilities that you have. So first of all, let's start with the first one with the Fund Sentinel. By doing this, you are increasing the DAO funds, and in return, you're getting Sentinel DAO tokens, which represent your percentage of the DAO funds. So let's go ahead and do that and fund the Sentinel with 2 additional super token DAIs. First, we of course need to approve it. Okay, now that this got through, we get another prompt to actually send those 2 super tokens. Okay, now this got confirmed as well. And when you go and examine that transaction, once it's properly indexed by Etherscan, you can see that I've transferred 2 super tokens and I've received 1.4 Sentinel DAO tokens. So because I already had some of them previously on my account, you can now see that I have a total of 6.6 Sentinel DAO tokens that represent my portion of the DAO funds that are here in this smart contract. So once this refreshes, you can see that this value has also updated. Okay, so now that we have funded our Sentinel and the available funds are higher than the current stake, we can go ahead and become the Sentinel. And here we can decide on an amount, and preferably you want it to be just a little above the current stake so that it's possible to redeem some of the free available funds that are left over. So because the current stake is 4.9, I'm going to go ahead and become the Sentinel for 5 super tokens. Okay, so we see that this transaction got confirmed as well. And once we refresh it here, you can see that this X changed to a check mark. And now the current Sentinel has also changed. This is the address of our DAO smart contract, and that the stake has also been updated. And also, when you go over to the dashboard, you can see that, and that needs to be refreshed as well. You can see that it's also updated to 5 and that this is our Sentinel. All right, so now we are the Sentinel, and assuming that there is a Sentinel service running, we are reaping the rewards and are accumulating the buffers that are left over from the insolvent streams. So now let's simulate a couple of those streams closing so that we can see the DAO funds actually being increased. Under normal circumstances, we would need to wait enough time for enough streams to go insolvent and for the Sentinel to close them. but for the purposes of this demonstration, we can also simulate that. So let's say the Sentinel has been running for a while now, and that it's accumulated, let's say, 6 additional super tokens as rewards. And we're just gonna mint those to the smart contract, but you could just as well open the streams and wait for them to run out of money, and the Sentinel would close them. This transaction has confirmed as well, so now we can see that once it refreshes, you can see that the DAO controlled funds have also increased. So now let's say we would like to redeem our Sentinel stake. It's been running for a while now, and we want to uh, lower it because so under live circumstances, and this is different on the girly test network, but under live circumstances, for example, on Polygon, the accumulated rewards are added to the Sentinel stake. So in order to actually pay them out, you need to start redeeming the stake, and that is also a stream that is outgoing from the Toga smart contract. So in order to redeem those rewards, we need to start that exit process. And we can do that just by clicking here and confirming the transaction. And you can see that it has been confirmed. So when I go over here now, note that the exit rate was 0. And when I go over here again and refresh that, you can see that the exit rate has changed to 5, and this is the exit rate per day, which means that after 24 hours, our stake would deplete completely, and we would be able to pay it out as a whole. So now if I refresh it again, it's gonna be less than 5. Yeah, you can actually see it's 4.997, so it's getting lower every second. So now let's say we were to try and, for example, redeem our funds because, we have an existing stream that's going out, and some of the funds are already in the smart contract. I mean, the stake is already getting lower. So let's say we'd like to redeem our funds, but this wouldn't be possible yet due to a very sort of complex matter that we are now exiting from the stream, but we are now exiting from the Sentinel, but we are doing that with a stream. So this means we would then change the percentage of the tokens that we hold in the smart contract while the stream is ongoing, and while potentially the Sentinel could close some other streams. So that would mean that closing those other streams would also increase the stake that we have. And that would mean that we would need to update the outgoing stream live, which would not be possible under current Toga implementation. So this means that we have to wait until that either until that stake gets to 0, or until the exit rate until we change the exit rate to 0, or until someone else becomes the Sentinel. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now and change the Sentinel to my other account. Okay, so I've done that now, and as you can see, the stake has also changed again. The Sentinel has changed, and the exit rate has changed. So this means that all of our previously held tokens, including the reward, are now back in the smart contract over here. So now we can go ahead and withdraw our funds after it's made us some money. For example, let's take a quick look at how many cent tokens we have that represent our percentage. So let's say I want to withdraw just a portion of them, for example, 3. So let me do that. And we can see that the transaction has been confirmed. And if we take a closer look at it, we can see that we have transferred in, and once it gets properly indexed, of course, we can see that we've transferred in 3 Sentinel DAO tokens, and we have withdrawn 6.8 super fake DAI tokens. So this means that it's much more than we've paid for in the first place. So now I would like to show you one last safety feature that is essential to running the DAO. Let's say you are wondering if anyone could just come by and pay 10, even as little as 10 cents and decide whether or not the DAO becomes a Sentinel or whether or not the redemption of the Sentinel stake starts. So no, that's not possible with just, for example, 10 cents. So let me just do a short demo of that. If you're wondering why those funds have changed, it's because I was recording and actually forgot to hit record. So yeah, talking away there to myself. Okay, the transaction has gone through, and now I am a part of the DAO, but I've only paid 10 cents. So am I able to decide whether or not the DAO becomes the Sentinel? No, I'm not, because I need at least 10% of all cents, and I only have 0.02 tokens, which if you take a look at how many there are in total, it's under 10%. So now, let's say I had a change of heart and I want to become a law-abiding citizen and fund the DAO with most of my remaining tokens. So I'm gonna do that, and bear in mind that I am paying in 10 $10 in terms of super tokens DAI. The transaction has been confirmed. So now if you think back to our example, I could be Bob or Alice, and my other account is basically the other guy. So now we're pooling our funds to become a Sentinel. So now let's say we've become a Sentinel, and now let's simulate some of those rewards coming in. Let's say now it's been a while and that we have waited a bit, and now there are 20 more super tokens that have been paid out to the Sentinel as rewards for closing the streams. We've waited for a bit now, and the rewards have been accumulated now. So now if we want to redeem our funds, we have received 2.2 almost 6 tokens, and we're now redeeming them, and we've paid $10 to the DAI smart contract. So now you can see that I have been able to redeem 17 fake DAI tokens in total. So that was the 10 that I've paid and 7 additional on top of that. So that's a pretty nice return on investment, wouldn't you say? All right, so that's been all now. I hope that you enjoyed our Sentinel DAO hackathon submission and see you around in the DeFi world.